What sort of sense do you have about you just started talking about, that your team is going to bounce back and really perform? The pressure is really on now as you're moving along.
Yeah, because I know the guys in the locker room. That's why, and I know these coaches and I know these players, and I know what they're made of. And I just go back to the fact this team was assembled for a reason, and so there is nothing that would tell me that these guys won't bounce back. So we're going to put in the good work today, and they'll be ready to roll.
You'll see Deshaun Elliott and Jamal. I think those are maybe two of the injury concerns there. Any update you can do with those guys?
Yeah, there again, I would say Deshaun's day to day. Jamal will be out there practicing today.
Yeah, the old saying that it's hard to beat an opponent twice. Do you believe in that? And if so, why do you think that's the case?
Well, I think it's anytime you face somebody twice, they know what they need to improve, but you also know that what you did the first time works, but they're looking at that, understanding that, so they know what to attack on both sides of the ball. And so there is a bit of a chess game to it, and I think that's why it's, it can be hard, but I think if you do your homework, and you come up with another good game plan, and it centers around your personnel and what you do best and how to take out their best personnel. That's one. And two is, man, the effort, the focus, the intensity, all those things that you have to have in every game. Then you give yourself a pretty good chance.
Is there, right now everybody's caught up in playoff fever. We're all scoreboard watching, and what is, this team wins that. How it affects you guys. Is it still possible to consider this a successful season for you guys, even if you don't make the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that, honestly, Carlos. I mean, just until this thing is done, because of where we're at, to me, success would be winning this game right now, to bounce back after a tough loss and get back on track. And to me, this is our recalibrate week. We're going to recalibrate, man, because we were doing some good things. We found a pretty good spot in what we were doing and how we needed to do it. And we got a little out of line. And so let's do a little realignment, recalibration, and go back to work, because we're not far off. As bad as some of it was, it's honestly, you're not as bad as it appears to be too. So it's like I told those guys this morning. I'm like, forget anything else, but man, the work is on us in Chicago. It's got to be. And then you do that. Guess what? You give yourself one more week to see where you're at.
Lost 10 and 12 and maybe doesn't have a whole lot of confidence. What's the key to, I guess, keeping them down and preventing them from, building some early in a game?
Well, I think, look, this team is very much like we were last year in this time of year. And when you turn on the tape and watch them, they're playing now. I mean, they play hard. And so they're giving themselves a chance. They are getting takeaways on defense. They have a legitimate threat at the quarterback position over there as a runner. And so we know that. We understand that. So when you have that, man, this opponent's going to be ready to go. And I still think, you have to treat this no different than anybody else. I mean, this is the Buffalo Bills as far as we're concerned. And it's going to come down to the wire. It could come down to the very end, the last 2 minutes of the game. And so I think we just got to play clean football. We got to play hard. We got to play smart. And if they do anything over there, particularly offensively, they're going to have to earn it, man. They got to go all the way down the field, no explosives, man. And I think you do that, then you find a way to get a takeaway, which we've kind of done over the last few weeks, and we get back to what we do.
You talk about that chess match of playing a division opponent again. In your experience in the league, how much time is spent watching that film and studying and reviewing the film from the first game, or is it more of what Justin was suggesting? You look at successful defensive game plans against a guy like Fields, or you look at successful offensive game plans against defense that's from other games in the season?
I do think it's both. The first tape you're going to turn over is your last game. You'll always look at that one and see what was done well, what wasn't done well. And then I think you do have to go over the last few games. You need to look at what's been done, and I think you kind of combine the two. And then you have to understand, how are they looking at it? What do they feel like they can succeed at, or whether they feel like they can expose you and have an answer for it. So I do think it's kind of all-encompassing. So,
Is
it
chess match
is.
fun?
It is fun. It is fun because that's the, that's the, it is fun. It is because that's where sometimes you could, there are some people who. This is one of the things you learn, man, being with Sean Payton. It was the best, man, because it was no stone was left unturned, man. You grind through that tape, and it didn't matter how many hours, and you find the nugget, and that's the beauty of it. And when you do find that one, it may be only one play, but that one play could be the one that changes the whole game. And so it is fun. I mean, I think as a coach, that's why you get into it. That's part of it, being around the players, motivating, all that, but it's also that finding those little nuggets, man, that could change the game.
Defense is missing some pieces that we maybe saw the first time around, but like you said, they're creating a lot of turnovers. So who on that side of the ball has kind of stepped up for them?
Yeah, look, I think Morrow's playing very well at linebacker. I think this D line's playing pretty good, man. 93 is. There'll be some double teams. He gets lifted, and all of a sudden, man, he's out of the double team, and he's making a tackle for a loss, or he's getting a 1-yard gain. I think it is a young secondary, but I think they're playing pretty good. They had a couple of bumps a couple of weeks ago, and then every week they've gotten a little bit better. They are opportunistic, but I think collectively, when you watch them, they play hard, and they're pretty sound. I think. Coach E over there does a good job, and it's a defensive mentality, that their whole team is built off of that. So, you line up, you got to be ready to go.
As a parent, sometimes I'll say something, and I can hear my dad's voice. I'm not saying he's your parent, but like with Sean Payton, do you ever say stuff or hear stuff or get in a pickle where you're like, you hear his voice or his wisdom?
Yeah, I mean, I think you always those things will always be part of who you are. You'll always take that with you, and certainly the best parts of it. And and I learned a lot of valuable lessons under him. He's one of the better coaches in this league for a reason. And I think one of the best offensive minds in football. That I've ever been around, bar none. I mean, he's something else. So, but he's also, man, he's a grinder. I mean, he worked like no other. And sometimes I didn't know what, he's superhuman. I mean, I don't know how he did it. I mean, there was things that it was unbelievable. But you take those lessons from him, and you see how he reacts to situations, and he was as good as anybody, man.
I talked about the run game efficiency earlier this week. I'm just curious, is there anything that you can maybe look back to earlier in the season when things were rolling that you can kind of pinpoint as well, we're not doing that as well as we used to, or anything?
No, look, this was really, and when you really look at what went down, there was a ripple effect, man. And you throw the stone into the pond, and it just watched the ripples, and it started. It starts with one guy, and it bleeds to the next one, and to the next one, and pretty soon, man, if you're off just a little bit, it creates issues, and then you're trying to overcompensate, and so really, it's just getting back to what we do, man. It's not an overreaction. And that's what we're going to go out to work. We got our pads on. This is not going to be training camp, but it's getting focused, man. We're bending, we're straining, we're hitting blocks, we're fitting our gaps. And inside of that is schematically getting ready for this quarterback and this run game, So we'll have a good plan. Our guys will be ready to go because I know them, and who knows what's going to happen here. But I know we'll be ready to compete.
You pride yourself on, and it resonates with your players, is your consistency of your message. I think both after the game and Monday, you said, we weren't ready, but I 100% guarantee we'll have them ready, or something in that. So is something changing in your message this week to, make sure you don't have the lull that you had last week and this week?
No, just there again, we talked about the issues, the things that we saw and what we needed to correct. And it was as simple as that, and now we're going to put in the work.
Sorry, Quintus Cephas's clock I think runs up this week. Is he gonna?
We're going to put him down. That'll be coming.
Really important question. Are you actually a chess player, or a checkers guy, Yahtzee?
Actually, it's been a while, but I do love chess. Well, it started in checkers. All right. My cousin and I used to play checkers all the time, and then he brought in I'd stay with him in the summer, and then hey man, let's play some chess. We played chess. We played all summer, man. It was fun, but it's been a long time. But look, it's fun. The strategic part of the game is fun, you know, and I think when you're head coach or your coordinator, man, that's what kind of floats your boat.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Stanley.